I'm Sally, Share with the Child's Advocate, and first I want to thank you all for the work that you're doing. It's fabulous, and thank you for the opportunity that maybe we can also work with you, because we think our work's pretty wonderful. And before I start, I wanted to sort of give you a sense of what it is we're dealing with as advocates for children. One child, a 13-year-old girl, can be raped, and this is an actual case, was in fact raped by her stepfather, became pregnant, had a baby, ended up in a juvenile court proceeding as an abused child, then ended up in criminal court in front of a jury to testify against the stepfather who had abused her, then was back in a juvenile court. It could be different, not necessarily juvenile court, proceeding where the government was trying to terminate her parental rights to the child. And this young girl has no one, I mean, it makes me weep, to represent her. And we are finding more and more and more of that. So that gets to what our project is, to represent children through a multidisciplinary approach, mental health and attorney, which is what makes it very unique. And this is for children who basically have gotten pulled into the legal system through no fault of their own. And then their lives are completely altered by what happens, and they have no voice. They have no one there for them, period. And they have no way to deal with a legal process that most adults can't even deal with. So that's basically why we are and what we are. And as I said, it is unique in trying to do the multidisciplinary approach, which has now become, I think, a national standard as well as an international standard. Let me check all my questions before I take up too much time. The long-term goals for us is to be basically a law center, law firm, if you will, for children. Any child who has legal questions, gets caught up in the system, and doesn't have representation afforded them could come to us. But that's down the road a piece. We're having to focus right now on just certain cases. Primarily high conflict custody, domestic violence custody. Anytime a child's custody is an issue and a judge thinks it's appropriate, or one of the parties or attorneys thinks it's appropriate, and also the children who are the victims who have to testify or be interviewed 100 times. So those are the two places we're focusing right now. And our definition of success is having healthier, happier, well-adjusted children, i.e. a better community long term. Because we know from multiple studies, national and international, that the children caught up in high conflict custody are at significant risk for major mental health and emotional issues. One writer, and if I've got her, I won't take time, it really has described it beautifully, and many have, that they will perpetuate conflict, inability to deal with other people, educational failure, and we already know about the school to prison pipeline. It's sort of the beginning, and if we can nip it in the bud, it will help, because the kids who come out of the process, as well as the families, are happier, healthier, more content with the outcome, even if the children don't get what they think they want. They have someone counseling them through all of this. They have a voice, and they respect the legal system. So there's a lot to be gained by doing this. Our evaluation will take time. Evaluating individual cases, the feedback we get, which is already very positive from our judges, from parents, from kids. But we want to do that on a more formal basis, plus the studies that have already been done in so many states and other countries. There is no other nonprofit. There's nothing, no other organization providing what we're doing in Wake County, in North Carolina, period, because of the multidisciplinary approach, because of the attorney approach, as opposed to what's called a guardian ad litem, which I can get into later if there's enough time. It's pretty complicated. We hope to be a pilot for the rest of the state. 2 other counties have programs providing a guardian ad litem for children in custody cases, and that's Mecklenburg and Forsyth, but that's it. It really horrifies me that there's nothing in Wake County, but that's the way it is at the moment. Sustainability, our long-term, I think, is ultimately, I believe the state's going to realize, as it has with juvenile system, that children need to be represented when their lives are at stake. Even though they're not parties, it's their life that's being altered. That obviously is not going to happen now. We've got a budget mess, and it's going to be a long time, I think, before that's better. But I think long-term, that's what will happen. Meanwhile, our short-term objective is to keep doing what we're doing, which is to apply for foundation grants, get individual donations, help wherever we can financially. And then Jean sent me some extra questions, whether private practitioners are helping. All you have to do is go to our website, and I hope you will do that. Most of the donors are lawyers or law firms. So they're helping us very much financially. The North Carolina Bar Association is giving us a grant. The lawyers are helping by volunteering to be pro bono attorneys for kids, as well as to give expertise on areas that we need help with writing memoranda, etc. Number of children that we've served so far is 30, and I think with the addition of a part-time attorney, we could double that number. But we're sort of operating on a shoestring right now, and we really need more help. Yes.
You were talking about a part-time attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what this grant would be used for? Or is the grant just sort of going to go into a general fund?
Well, if you want it designated for a part-time attorney, we can do that. We need additional staff besides just the part-time attorney, and that's part of some we're feeling our way. It could be a paralegal, it could be a mental health professional, but staff, actually, yes.
And
Personnel.
when were you organized? When did you start? When were you incorporated?
We were incorporated and got a 501c3 status in '08. We actually started operating. Well, I did some pieces here and there of children, but formally in 2010, August, when we hired our first attorney.
So, am I right to understand that if you received our grant, you could use that money to pay for a part-time attorney, which could double the number of children?
Absolutely,
that you're
yes.
helping?
Could make a huge difference. Any other questions?
Ages of your constituency?
Any age up to 18.
So you've got children younger than?
The pre-verbal, yes. In fact, we've got
So it covers it.
1 2-year-old right now.
And guardian ad litem starts at what age?
Infant.
Same thing, 0 to 18, but it's a really complicated mess, but the difference, be it an attorney or a layperson, is that they are substituting what they believe is best for a child as opposed to actually representing that child, which is now become, again, the national standard. The child deserves protection, legal knowledge, attorney-client privilege, counsel, advice, none of which a guardian ad litem can do.
Where do most of your children reside?
Sorry.
Where do they mostly reside? Are they in a home? Are they in child service protection?
We've had a mixture. Most have started in homes. Some have ended up with CPS involved. Some have already been in CPS places, like 2 kids who were in foster homes who ran away and ended up with us. And we get them back in juvenile court with their original attorneys, but then help them
So you get them
establish.
placed somewhere safe? Is
And
that part of
won't
what-
run away, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.